Hello everyone, and welcome to our History channel. Today, we're about to embark on a journey through 5,000 years of time, diving into the epic story of China, one of the most magnificent civilizations in human history. From the ancient Yellow River Valley to today's bustling modern cities, China's past unfolds like a grand tapestry, woven with the wisdom, courage, and dreams of countless generations. You may have heard of the terracotta army of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the romantic verses of Tang poetry, or the legendary Silk Road. Perhaps you're curious about China's modern struggles and its remarkable revival. Whether you're a seasoned history enthusiast or discovering Chinese history for the first time, this video will immerse you in the depth and charm of this ancient land. Chinese history is not only about emperors, generals, and grand battles, it's also about the stories of ordinary people who built a civilization with their sweat and ingenuity. From the invention of writing and papermaking, to Confucius's philosophy of benevolence, and today's high-speed rail network, Chinese civilization, defined by its continuity and inclusiveness, stands as one of the most unique in human history. In this episode, we'll begin with the legendary 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors, travel through the Bronze Age of the Xia, Shang, and Zhou dynasties, explore the philosophical clashes of the Spring and Autumn and Warring States periods, witness the unification under the Qin and Han, the cultural peaks of the Tang and Song, the rise and fall of the Ming and Qing dynasties, and finally arrive at the turmoil and rebirth of modern times. Each chapter is like a window into a different era, showing us how the people of China rose to meet challenges and created wonders. We hope this isn't just a journey of knowledge, but also a journey of the heart. Are you ready? Let's turn to the first page of China's history, together. Chapter 1: The Age of Myth and Antiquity. China's story begins not with recorded facts, but with misty legends. The ancients believed that before heaven and earth were divided, the universe was like a cosmic egg filled with chaos. Then came the giant Pangu, who split the heavens from the earth with a mighty swing of his axe. Pure energy rose to form the sky, while heavier matter settled into the earth. When Pangu died, his body transformed into mountains, rivers, and life itself. The goddess Nuwa molded humans from yellow clay and later mended the broken sky, earning her the title of Mother of Humanity. Though mythical, these stories reflect early Chinese philosophical musings on the origins of the cosmos and lend an air of mystery to the dawn of Chinese civilization. But archaeology reveals a more tangible past. As early as 1.7 million years ago, humans walked the land that is now China. The Yuanmo man of Yunnan left behind evidence of early tool use. Around 500,000 years ago, the Peking man of Zhoukoudian mastered fire, forming early communities and fighting off the cold. These ancient relics confirm that China was one of the cradles of human civilization. With the advent of the Neolithic Age, some 7,000 to 8,000 years ago, communities along the Yellow and Yangtze rivers began settling down, transitioning from nomadic life to agriculture. They cultivated rice and millet, and domesticated animals like pigs and dogs, laying the foundations of stable living. The painted pottery of the Yangshao culture in Henan features fish motifs and geometric designs, revealing early artistic flair. Meanwhile, the black pottery of the Longshan culture in Shandong, so thin it's often compared to eggshells, demonstrates advanced craftsmanship and technological progress. These artifacts were more than household items, they were symbols of emerging culture. Legend speaks of the era of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors, a mythical time seen as the embryo of Chinese civilization. Suiren invented firemaking through friction, ending the age of raw meat. Fuxi devised the bagua, 8 trigrams, in an attempt to understand natural laws. Shennong tasted hundreds of herbs, laying the groundwork for agriculture and medicine. The Yellow Emperor, revered as the ancestor of Chinese culture, is said to have defeated the warlord Qiyu and united the tribes of the Central Plains, establishing early order. His wife, Lei Zhu, discovered how to raise silkworms and real silk, sparking the dawn of China's silk culture. Historians today consider these figures largely mythical, symbolic rather than factual. But the myths likely arose from historical kernels. In the 20th century, the discoveries at the Yinshu ruins in Anyang and the Erlitou site in Zhengzhou revealed signs of early state formation. At Erlitou, archaeologists unearthed palace foundations, bronze wares, and jade artifacts, evidence pointing to a powerful political center. Together, these legends and archaeological discoveries paint a vivid picture of early China, a society emerging from ignorance toward enlightenment, a people brimming with creativity and curiosity. The efforts of these early ancestors laid the groundwork for what would become the Xia dynasty. Let us now step into the story of China's first recorded dynasty. Chapter 2, Xia, Shang, and Zhou, the Rise of the Bronze Age. Around the 21st century BCE, China's history turned a new page with the emergence of the Xia dynasty. According to legend, Yu the Great spent 13 years controlling floods, dredging rivers, and winning the people's admiration. He founded the Xia dynasty and established its capital in Yangqing, near present-day Dingfeng, Hunan. The Xia was China's first hereditary dynasty, marking the birth of statehood. Although written records of the Xia are scarce, archaeological clues have surfaced at the Erlitou site in Hunan. Broad palace foundations, exquisite bronze ceremonial vessels, and jade scepters all speak of a flourishing civilization. Among the finds, the elegant bronze Zhou, a ritual wine vessel, stands as a symbol of royal authority. Many scholars consider the Erlitou culture to be the material remains of the Xia dynasty, showing that the Chinese had mastered complex metallurgy over 4,000 years ago. At the end of the Xia era, the tyrant King Jia's cruelty sparked rebellion. Around 1600 BCE, Tang of Shang overthrew him and founded the Shang dynasty. The Shang capital moved several times before settling in Yin, modern-day Anyang, Hunan. The 20th century excavation of the Yinshu site astonished the world, revealing tens of thousands of oracle bones. Inscribed on turtle shells and ox scapulae, these records of royal divinations covered everything from weather and warfare to sacrificial rituals. Oracle bone script is the earliest known form of Chinese writing, proof of the Shang's advanced civilization. Shang bronze craftsmanship reached extraordinary heights. The Simiwa Ding, a massive ritual cauldron weighing over 800 kilograms, is adorned with intricate patterns and symbolizes royal power and ancestral worship. Shang kings conducted elaborate ceremonies with these bronzes, often involving human sacrifices, grim but indicative of deep religious devotion. Despite its grandeur, Shang rule was not unshakable. Its final ruler, King Zhou, descended into decadence, trusting sycophants and alienating his people. In 1046 BCE, King Wu of the Zhou clan allied with other tribes to launch the Battle of Mai, defeating the Shang and establishing the Zhou dynasty. The Zhou would become China's longest-lasting dynasty, spanning the Western Zhou and Eastern Zhou periods. Learning from the Shang's collapse, Zhou rulers introduced the concept of the mandate of heaven, the idea that a ruler must govern virtuously or risk divine retribution. The Duke of Zhou, regent for King Qing, instituted the feudal system, distributing land to loyal nobles in exchange for their allegiance. This system ensured early Zhou stability and supported the growth of agriculture and crafts. The Zhou also laid down lasting cultural foundations. Their ritual and musical systems, featuring bronze bells and chime stones, created a sense of order and harmony. The Book of Songs, a collection of poetry from this time, preserves both folk tunes and court hymns, offering rich insight into the society of the Western Zhou. Yet the peace was short-lived. In 771 BCE, King Yu of Zhou lit warning beacons as a prank to amuse his consort, enraging the nobles and triggering a foreign invasion by the Rong tribes. The capital Haojing fell, and the Western Zhou came to an end. King Ping relocated east to Luoyang, ushering in the Eastern Zhou period. This, in turn, divided into the Spring and Autumn and Warring States periods, an era where thought and warfare would intertwine in unprecedented ways. Chapter 3, Spring and Autumn and the Warring States, the Golden Age of Thought. The Eastern Zhou era began with a weakening of central authority. Regional lords acted autonomously, vying for dominance. During the Spring and Autumn period, leaders like Duke Huan of Qi and Duke Wen of Jin rose as the five hegemons, enforcing their rule under the slogan "Uphold the King, Expel the Barbarians." Qi's statesman Guanzhong spearheaded reform, advocating clear laws and fair rewards and punishments, an early seed of legalist thinking. The Warring States period that followed was marked by even fiercer competition. 7 major states, Qin, Chu, Qi, Yan, Han, Zhou, and Wei, vied for supremacy. Alliances formed and shattered as diplomacy and war unfolded side by side. Military innovations flourished, iron weapons replaced bronze, and the crossbow enhanced battlefield lethality. The Battle of Chongping saw the Qin massacre 400,000 Zhou soldiers, a brutal event that shocked the ages. Yet this was also an age of intellectual brilliance. Amidst chaos, thinkers sought answers, giving rise to the 100 schools of thought. Foremost among them was Confucius, the founder of Confucianism. He traveled from state to state, preaching benevolence and ritual, advocating social harmony through clearly defined roles, ruler to subject, father to son. His teachings, recorded in the Analects, remain a moral cornerstone of Chinese culture. Mencius built on his legacy, proclaiming the people are more important than the ruler, a radical view at the time. Laozi, founder of Taoism, proposed the opposite, govern by doing nothing. In his Tao Te Ching, he wrote, "The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao," urging people to follow the natural order. His disciple Zhuangzi explored freedom through whimsical tales, like the dream of a butterfly, that blur the lines between reality and illusion. Legalist thinker Han Fizi, however, viewed human nature as fundamentally selfish and argued for strict laws and harsh punishments. In the Qin state, reformer Shang implemented sweeping changes, abolishing noble privileges and rewarding farming and military merit, turning Qin into a powerhouse. Though often seen as ruthless, legalism laid the groundwork for unification. Other thinkers also left deep marks. Mozi promoted universal love and opposed war, caring deeply for the poor. Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War, a military classic still studied worldwide. From strategists to agrarians to cosmologists, a dazzling array of philosophies made this a true feast of the mind. Technological progress also defined the Warring States era. Iron tools boosted agriculture, while engineering marvels like the Dujianjian irrigation system benefited generations. Across the land, reform-minded leaders like Wu Qi in Chu and Yue in Yan transformed their states. But it was Qin's thorough legalist reforms that paved the road to unification. The Spring and Autumn and Warring States periods, spanning over 500 years, formed the bedrock of Chinese thought and culture. Their legacy shaped not just China, but the entire East Asian sphere. Up next, we'll witness how the Qin dynasty, with its iron will and sweeping reforms, forged the first unified empire in Chinese history. Chapter 4, The Qin and Han Dynasties, the Dawn of a Unified Empire. In 221 BCE, a monumental moment arrived. After a decade of relentless warfare, the young king of the state of Qin, Qing, conquered the 6 rival states and established China's first centralized and unified empire, the Qin dynasty. Declaring himself the first emperor, Shi Huangdi, he aspired to lay the foundations for an everlasting imperial legacy. Qin Shi Huang's ambition not only reshaped China's political map but also redefined its cultural and ideological landscape. This unification didn't happen overnight. During the Warring States period, the state of Qin rose to power thanks to the reforms of Shang, which strengthened its military and economy. Qin Shi Huang inherited this foundation and employed talented figures such as Li Si and Meng Tian to help him conquer Han, Zhou, Wei, Chu, Yan, and Qi, one by one. After unification, he enacted sweeping reforms, abolishing the feudal system and replacing it with a centrally controlled administrative structure of prefectures and counties, standardizing the written script, small seal script, to ease communication, unifying weights, measures, currency, and even axle widths for carts. These changes became the bedrock of China's centralized governance for centuries to come. Qin Shi Huang also ordered the construction of the Great Wall to fend off northern nomads, the Xiongnu. Though much of the existing wall is from the Ming dynasty, its early form took shape during Qin's reign. He also commissioned expressways and straight roads to connect the empire, enabling rapid troop movement and efficient logistics. His mausoleum, located near present-day Xi'an in Shaanxi province, is world-famous for the discovery of the terracotta army, life-sized soldiers that reflect both the military might and artistic sophistication of the Qin dynasty. However, his rule was not without controversy. Obsessed with immortality, he sent expeditions, like that of Su Fu, to seek elixirs from mythical eastern lands, draining vast resources. The infamous burning of the books and burying of scholars, intended to enforce ideological conformity, led to the destruction of texts and the execution of hundreds of Confucian scholars. While these measures consolidated power, they also alienated the intellectual elite. On top of that, heavy taxes and forced labor to build projects like the Great Wall and the Grand Apang Palace brought immense suffering to the common people. In 210 BCE, Qin Shi Huang died while touring the empire. Chaos quickly followed. His son, Hu Hai, became the second emperor but proved weak and incompetent. A rebellion led by Qin Shang and Wu Guang, with the rallying cry "Our kings and nobles born to be so," ignited uprisings across the country. By 207 BCE, the Qin dynasty collapsed, its short-lived 15-year rule like a brief flash of lightning. Amidst the turmoil, two heroes emerged, Xiang Yu and Liu Bang. Xiang Yu, a fearsome warrior, famously destroyed the Qin's main forces at the Battle of Jiulu, burning his boats to show resolve. However, his arrogance and failure to secure popular support led to his downfall. Liu Bang, a former peasant with a knack for employing talent, gained widespread backing. In 202 BCE, after defeating Xiang Yu at the Battle of Gaixia, where Xiang Yu committed suicide at the Wu River, Liu Bang founded the Han dynasty, known historically as the Western Han. The Han dynasty became one of the most glorious eras in Chinese history. Its founder, Emperor Gaozu, Liu Bang, focused on rest and recovery, easing taxes, and stabilizing society. Under Emperors Wen and Jing, the period known as the rule of Wen and Jing saw prosperity and contented citizens. In 141 BCE, Emperor Wu, Lu Che, ascended the throne and led the Han to its zenith. He defeated the Xiongnu in the north and expanded the empire's borders, bringing the western regions under Han influence. His envoy Zhang Qian journeyed twice to Central Asia, opening the Silk Road. Chinese silk and tea flowed westward, while grapes, pepper, and other exotic goods made their way east. Emperor Wu also promoted Confucianism as state doctrine, suppressing other schools of thought. The scholar Dong Zhongshu advanced the idea of the divine right of emperors through the interaction between heaven and man. Early forms of the imperial examination system began to take shape, recruiting talented individuals into the bureaucracy. The Han era also boasted remarkable achievements in science and culture. Zhang Heng invented the world's first seismoscope, Kai Luan improved papermaking, making the spread of knowledge more accessible. The historian Sima Qian, after enduring castration as punishment, wrote the Grand Records of the Grand Historian, chronicling history from the Yellow Emperor to Emperor Wu, a masterpiece that launched Chinese historiography. However, the Han's glory was not eternal. In his later years, Emperor Wu's aggressive military campaigns drained the state's resources. Power struggles among empresses' families and eunuchs sowed instability. In 8 CE, the official Wang Mang usurped the throne and established the short-lived Xian dynasty. His failed reforms led to chaos. In 25 CE, Liu Xiu restored the Han dynasty, known as the Eastern Han. The early Eastern Han saw a brief revival under Emperor Guangwu. But later, land monopolization and peasant revolts surged. In 184 CE, the Yellow Turban Rebellion rocked the nation, signaling the beginning of the end. By 220 CE, the Han dynasty officially fell, ushering in the era of the Three Kingdoms. The 4 centuries of the Qin and Han dynasties marked the beginning of China's unified imperial tradition. Their systems, culture, and ideology profoundly shaped the Chinese civilization. Up next, we step into a time of legendary heroes and turbulent chaos. Chapter 5: The Three Kingdoms to the Southern and Northern Dynasties, Chaos and Integration. The Three Kingdoms period is one of the most legendary chapters in Chinese history. In 220 AD, Chao Pai deposed the last Han emperor and established the state of Wei. Liu Bei of Shu Han and Sun Quan of Eastern Wu soon followed, each proclaiming themselves emperor, resulting in the tripartite division of China. Although Cao Cao never claimed the imperial title, he laid the foundation of the Wei dynasty. Wielding the emperor's authority as a political tool, he consolidated the north and left behind stirring lines like with wine in hand, how fleeting life seems. Liu Bei of Shu was known for his benevolence and righteousness. His 3 visits to the recluse Zhuge Liang became legendary. Zhuge Liang, a brilliant strategist, dedicated his life to the state, famously composing the memorial on dispatching troops before his final northern expedition. Meanwhile, Sun Quan secured the south, and his alliance with Liu Bei led to the decisive defeat of Cao Cao at the Battle of Red Cliffs, cementing the balance of power. The stories of the 3 kingdoms are dramatic and rich in character. Guan Yu's loyalty, Zhao Yun's valor, and Zhou Yu's cunning became enduring legends. But the dream of unification remained elusive. In 263, Wei conquered Shu. In 280, the Qin dynasty, having replaced Wei, overthrew Wu and briefly reunified China, a period known as the Western Qin. However, this unification was short-lived. Following Emperor Wu of Jin's death, the War of the 8 Princes erupted, as royal factions vied for power. Nomadic tribes from the north seized the chaos to invade, a period remembered as the 5 barbarians ravaging China. In 316, the Western Qin collapsed, and China entered the era of the southern and northern dynasties. This period was marked by both division and integration. The north saw successive regimes established by non-Han peoples such as the Xianbei, Jia, and Di, including the northern Wei, northern Qi, and northern Zhou. In the south, Han Chinese dynasties like the Song, Qi, Liang, and Qin carried on the cultural legacy. Though plagued by constant warfare, this era laid the groundwork for ethnic fusion. Emperor Xiaowen of northern Wei championed Sinicization, adopting Han surnames, wearing Han clothing, and speaking Chinese, fostering integration between nomadic and Han cultures. Religiously and artistically, the era flourished. Buddhism, introduced from India, took deep root in China. The Mogao caves of Dunhuang and the Yungang grottos featured stunning murals and statues, blending Chinese and foreign artistry. The Longmen grottos near Luoyang still stand as solemn testaments to Buddhist devotion. Taoism also emerged, with Guhong's Biopuzi laying its philosophical foundation. Culturally, the Wei and Jin periods birthed a unique aesthetic sensibility known as the spirit of Wei and Jin. Intellectuals, disillusioned by ceaseless conflict, turned to nature, philosophy, and personal expression. The 7 sages of the bamboo grove, such as Ruanji and Ji Kong, became icons of this lifestyle, known for their unorthodox ways and poetic talent. Ji Kang's Guangling San remains a hauntingly beautiful piece of Guqin music to this day. Calligraphy also reached a peak, with Wang Shiji's preface to the Orchid Pavilion hailed as the greatest running script in history for its elegance and profound spirit. In painting, Gu Kaiji's nymph of the Luo River captured the delicate emotion and grace of its subjects, becoming a treasure of classical Chinese art. Literary works like A New Account of the Tales of the World documented the lives and wit of scholars from this era, using concise, philosophical language. Though fraught with hardship, the southern and northern dynasties helped forge the path to eventual reunification. Ethnic integration and cultural exchanges during this period sowed the seeds for the golden age of the Sui and Tang dynasties to come. Next, we step into one of the most brilliant chapters of Chinese civilization. Chapter 6, Sui and Tang, the pinnacle of prosperity. In 581 AD, Yang Jian, a powerful noble of the northern Zhou, seized control and established the Sui dynasty, bringing an end to nearly 3 centuries of fragmentation. As Emperor Wen of Sui, he implemented sweeping reforms to stabilize the empire. He streamlined taxation, reorganized the bureaucracy, and rejuvenated the economy. Among his most ambitious projects was the construction of the Grand Canal, a massive waterway linking the Yellow River and the Yangtze River, bridging the cultural and economic divide between north and south. This canal became a vital artery for commerce and communication, symbolizing China's renewed unity. His son, Emperor Yang of Sui, Yang Guang, was an ambitious ruler. He launched military campaigns against Goguryeo in the Korean peninsula, rebuilt the eastern capital Luoyang, and extended the Grand Canal. However, his grandiose endeavors came at a steep cost. Backbreaking labor, excessive taxes, and failed wars pushed the populace to its breaking point. Widespread rebellions erupted, and in 618, the Sui dynasty collapsed. Out of this chaos rose Li Yuan, who launched a rebellion from Taiyuan and eventually founded the Tang dynasty. His reign as Emperor Gaozu laid the groundwork, but it was his son, Li Shimin, better known as Emperor Taizong, who truly ushered in a golden age. Emperor Taizong seized the throne through the dramatic incident at Xuanwu Gate, but his rule, known as the Reign of Jingguan, was characterized by enlightened governance. He welcomed criticism, appointed capable officials like Wei Jing and Fang Xianling, and reformed government institutions. He revised the legal code, promoted agriculture, and strengthened foreign relations through diplomacy and conquest. Under his rule, the Tang dynasty flourished economically, militarily, and culturally. His famous maxim, "Take history as a mirror to understand the rise and fall of dynasties," still resonates as a lesson in leadership. The Tang Empire became vast and cosmopolitan, stretching west to Central Asia, south to Vietnam, and north into the Mongolian steppe. Chang'an, the Tang capital, emerged as the largest and most cosmopolitan metropolis in the world, home to over 1 million residents. Merchants, envoys, monks, and travelers from Persia, Arabia, India, and beyond flowed through its streets. Exotic carpets from Persia, spices from Arabia, and Buddhist scriptures from India all converged in this vibrant hub, making Tang China the cultural and commercial center of East Asia. One of the most remarkable figures of the Tang dynasty was Wu Zetian, the only woman in Chinese history to assume the title of emperor in her own right. Rising from a palace concubine, she outmaneuvered her rivals to seize power, eventually establishing her own Zhou dynasty. Though her rule was controversial, she implemented significant reforms, promoted meritocracy through the imperial examination system, and empowered capable ministers like Di Renjie. She also championed Buddhism, commissioning the construction of the Grand Vairocana Buddha at the Longmen Grottos, an enduring symbol of her legacy. Tang Xuanzong, or Emperor Xuanzong, brought the dynasty to another zenith during the Kaiyuan era. He focused on economic reform, infrastructure, and cultural patronage. But in his later years, his reign faltered. Obsessed with his beloved consort Yang Guifei and entrusting power to the ambitious general An Lushan, he sowed the seeds of disaster. In 755, An Lushan launched a massive rebellion that plunged the empire into an 8-year civil war, the An Lushan Rebellion. Chang'an fell, Emperor Xuanzong fled, and Yang Guifei was executed in an attempt to appease the angered soldiers. Though the rebellion was eventually quelled, it marked the beginning of Tang's decline. Culturally, however, the Tang dynasty reached unparalleled heights. Poetry was the soul of the era. Li Bai's romanticism soared across the heavens. "Heaven gave me talents, they must be used." While Du Fu's poignant verses chronicled the suffering of the people with empathy and depth. Wang Wei's poetic fusion of Zen and landscape revealed spiritual serenity. These poets, and countless others, created a poetic tradition that would define Chinese literature for centuries. The Tang also marked the maturation of the imperial examination system, allowing men of humble origin to serve in government based on merit, not birthright. This expanded the bureaucracy and cultivated a new class of scholar officials. Xuanzong, a monk and explorer, famously journeyed west to India to retrieve Buddhist scriptures. After a 17-year pilgrimage, he returned with over 650 texts and compiled the Great Tang Records on the western regions, offering invaluable insights into Central and South Asia. His translations and teachings profoundly influenced East Asian Buddhism. In the visual arts, the Tang era dazzled. The painter Wu Daozi, nicknamed the Sage of Painting, created dynamic, lifelike murals with unmatched energy. His figures seemed to move, breathe, and emote. Music and dance reached new heights, with the rainbow skirt and feathered dress dance embodying Tang elegance and grandeur. Court entertainment flourished, blending Central Asian and Chinese traditions in lavish performances. Despite these cultural heights, the empire never fully recovered from the An Lushan Rebellion. In the following century, regional military governors, known as Jidushi, amassed power and undermined the central court. Peasant uprisings, such as the Huangqiao Rebellion, further weakened imperial authority. In 907 AD, the Tang dynasty officially fell, ushering in the chaotic 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period. Yet the legacy of the Sui and Tang dynasties remained profound. Their political systems, cultural achievements, and spirit of openness continued to shape China and its neighbors. The Grand Canal, the civil service system, Tang poetry, and Buddhist art, these were the enduring gifts of a radiant era. Next, we will enter a period of dramatic transformation, one of explosive technological progress, economic dynamism, and a renaissance of Chinese civilization. Chapter 7: The Song and Yuan Dynasties, Innovation and Transformation. In 960 CE, Zhou Guanyin donned the imperial robe and founded the Song dynasty, bringing an end to the political fragmentation of the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period. The Song dynasty is divided into 2 periods, the Northern Song and the Southern Song, both representing a new peak in China's economic and cultural development. The capital of the Northern Song, Kaifeng, then called Bianjing, was one of the most prosperous cities in the world. Zhang Zedwan's painting along the river during the Qingming festival vividly captures the bustling urban life, vendors shouting, boats crisscrossing the river, and lively taverns and teahouses. Commerce flourished as never before. The introduction of jiaozi, paper money, marked a milestone in the development of a monetary economy. Maritime trade boomed, with the port of Quanzhou filled with merchant ships from Southeast Asia and the Arab world. The Song dynasty led the world in science and technology. Bai Xing's invention of movable type printing dramatically lowered the cost of books, making knowledge more accessible. Gunpowder was used in warfare, leading to the development of rockets and firearms. Advances in the magnetic compass improved navigation, allowing Chinese fleets to reach as far as the east coast of Africa. Xinqua's Dream Pool essays documented these innovations and is often hailed as an encyclopedia of Chinese scientific achievement. Culturally, the Song dynasty was celebrated for its poetry and painting. Su Shi's bold and expansive verses, like "When will the moon be clear and bright? With a cup of wine in hand, I ask the blue sky," contrasted with the tender melancholy of Lu Yong's "Where will I wake from my wine tonight? By the willows, under the fading moon at dawn." Song painting emphasized atmosphere and emotion, as seen in Fan Quan's majestic Travelers Among Mountains and Streams, which captures the grandeur of nature. In philosophy, Neo-Confucianism flourished. Zhu Xi synthesized Confucian thought and proposed the concept of investigating things to attain knowledge, laying a foundation for intellectual life for centuries to come. However, the Song military was relatively weak. In the early Northern Song period, the empire suffered repeated invasions by the Liao and Western Xia. Emperor Zhenzong signed the Treaty of Chanyuan, trading annual tribute for peace. In 1127, the Jurchen-led Jin dynasty captured Kaifeng and took emperors Huizong and Qinzong prisoner, ending the Northern Song. Zhao Go fled south and established the Southern Song, with its capital in Linan, modern-day Hangzhou. Though confined to southern China, the Southern Song retained its economic and cultural vitality. The patriotic poetry of Lu Yu and Xian Qiji, and Yu Fei's famed loyalty, embodied in his motto, "Serve the country with utmost loyalty," became lasting symbols of national spirit. Yet the dynasty failed to reclaim its lost northern territory. In the 13th century, Mongol forces swept across Asia, altering China's destiny forever. In 1206, Genghis Khan unified the Mongol tribes and founded the Mongol Empire. His descendants conquered vast swaths of Eurasia, building the largest contiguous land empire in history. In 1271, Kublai Khan established the Yuan dynasty and, by 1279, completed the conquest of the Southern Song, reunifying China. The Yuan dynasty was the first unified Chinese dynasty established by a non-Han ethnic group. Kublai Khan moved the capital to Dadu, present-day Beijing, and adopted policies of Sinicization, employing Confucian scholars in governance. The Yuan Empire reached unprecedented territorial breadth, stretching west to Central Asia, east to Korea, and south to the South China Sea. A sophisticated postal relay system connected distant regions, facilitating trade and travel. Marco Polo's accounts of China spread tales of its wealth across Europe, though their accuracy remains debated. Yuan culture was diverse and distinctive. Zaju, variety plays, became a cultural highlight. Guan Hanqing's Injustice to Doi exposed social injustices and moved audiences deeply. Yuan drama earned a place beside Tang poetry and Song lyric verse. Wang Shifu's Romance of the Western Chamber became a timeless classic. In visual arts, Zhou Mingfu's calligraphy and landscapes blended northern and southern styles, leaving a lasting artistic legacy. Nonetheless, Yuan rule was unstable. The privileges of Mongol nobility and heavy taxation bred resentment among the Han population. In the 14th century, plagues and natural disasters deepened social unrest. In 1351, the Red Turban Rebellion erupted. Amid the chaos, a poor commoner named Zhou Yuanzhang rose to power and overthrew the Yuan dynasty. Chapter 8: The Ming and Qing Dynasties, the Final Age of Imperial Rule. In 1368, Zhou Yuanzhang declared himself emperor in Yingtian, modern-day Nanjing, founding the Ming dynasty. Born into poverty, having once lived as a monk and beggar, he rose to unify China through intelligence and determination. Zhou centralized power, abolished the position of prime minister, and established the secret police known as the Ingenuity to monitor officials. He also enacted the Great Ming Code, which structured society and upheld law and order. Under the Ming, agriculture and handicrafts thrived. The silk of the Jiangnan region and porcelain from Jingdezhen were exported worldwide. Chinese tea and lacquerware became prized possessions among European elites. Emperor Yongle relocated the capital to Beijing and built the Forbidden City, a grand palace complex that still symbolizes Chinese civilization today. He also commissioned Admiral Zheng He to lead 7 maritime expeditions, reaching as far as the eastern coast of Africa and bringing back exotic treasures such as giraffes and spices. Zheng He's voyages predated Columbus by half a century, showcasing the Ming dynasty's global ambition and naval prowess. Ming culture flourished brilliantly. Vernacular novels captured the imaginations of ordinary citizens. Romance of the Three Kingdoms celebrated heroic exploits, Water Margin extolled the brotherhood of outlaws, and Journey to the West blended fantasy with philosophical depth. Drama blossomed as well. The Peony Pavilion by Tang Xianzu, written in the Kunku style, remains a beloved romantic masterpiece. Yet from the mid-Ming period onward, cracks began to show. Land monopolization impoverished many farmers, while power-hungry eunuchs corrupted the imperial court. During the Wanli Emperor's reign, statesman Zhang Jujing attempted reforms, but their impact was limited. In 1644, rebel leader Li Zicheng stormed Beijing, prompting the Chongzhen Emperor to hang himself at Coal Hill, marking the end of the Ming dynasty. That same year, the Manchu nobility, descendants of Nurhaci, crossed the Great Wall and established the Qing dynasty, China's last imperial regime, which would rule for nearly 3 centuries. Emperor Kangxi was the dynasty's architect. He quelled the 3 feudatories, recovered Taiwan, defeated the Russian Empire, and signed the Treaty of Nerchinsk. He also compiled the Kangxi Dictionary and complete collection of illustrations and writings from the earliest to current times, advancing scholarly endeavors. His successor, Emperor Yongzheng, strengthened the bureaucracy and centralized power by creating the Grand Council. Emperor Qianlong ushered in the High Qing Golden Age. The treasury overflowed, the population surged, and the Qing Empire reached its largest territorial extent, encompassing Xinjiang, Tibet, Mongolia, and Manchuria. The construction of the Old Summer Palace reflected the dynasty's opulence and confidence. Culturally, the Qing dynasty was both inclusive and innovative. The novel Dream of the Red Chamber by Chao Shuoqin is a literary pinnacle, portraying the rise and fall of the Jia family while delving into the complexities of human nature and societal change. Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio by Pu Songling used ghost and fox spirit stories to critique reality. Scholars such as Gu Yanwu and Huang Zongxi advocated for practical learning and rejected empty theorizing. However, the Qing's isolationist policies would prove disastrous. In the 18th century, while the West entered the Industrial Revolution, powered by steam engines and advanced weaponry, the Qing Empire clung to its belief in being the Celestial Empire. Trade was tightly restricted. In 1793, British envoy Lord Macartney sought to open trade, but Emperor Qianlong famously refused, missing a crucial opportunity to engage with the modern world. The Opium War of 1840 shattered the Qing illusion of invulnerability. Britain's gunboats forced open China's ports, and the Treaty of Nanjing ceded Hong Kong and established 5 treaty ports. From that point forward, the Qing dynasty's decline was irreversible. Chapter 9: Modern Times, Suffering and Awakening. The Opium War marked the beginning of modern Chinese history. The British forced the Qing government to import opium, devastating countless families. Lin Zexu's heroic destruction of opium at Human showcased national integrity, but it triggered war. The Treaty of Nanking in 1842 was China's first unequal treaty, opening the floodgates for foreign powers to carve up the nation. The Qing government's corruption and incompetence fueled internal uprisings. In 1851, Hong Shouchuan launched the Taiping Rebellion, promoting ideals of land and wealth equality. The Taiping army swept through the south, captured Nanjing, and established it as their capital, Tianjin. However, internal strife and counterattacks by Qing forces led to their downfall. The rebellion lasted 14 years, inflicting immense destruction but shaking the Qing regime to its core. Foreign aggression only intensified. In the Second Opium War, 1856, Anglo-French forces burned down the old summer palace, looting it of all its treasures. The treaties of Tientsin and Peking opened more ports and ceded more territory. In the First Sino-Japanese War of 1894, Japan defeated the Beiyang fleet, forcing the Qing to sign the Treaty of Shimonoseki, ceding Taiwan and paying 200 million taels of silver. Facing national crisis, patriots rose to save the country. The self-strengthening movement aimed to learn from the West to resist the West. Reformers like Li Hongzhang and Zhou Zongtong established modern arms factories and shipyards. Yet without institutional reform, these efforts saw limited success. In 1898, Kang Yue and Liang Qichao initiated the 100 Days Reform, advocating constitutional monarchy. However, it was brutally crushed by Empress Dowager Cixi after just 3 months. In 1900, the Boxer Rebellion erupted, aiming to support the Qing and destroy foreigners. But the Eight-Nation Alliance invaded, occupied Beijing, and forced the imperial court to flee. The Boxer Protocol left the Qing government a puppet of foreign powers. In 1911, the Wuchang Uprising broke out. Sun Yat-sen's Tong Menghui overthrew the Qing dynasty, ending 2,000 years of imperial rule and founding the Republic of China. Yet the young republic fell into disarray as Yuan Shikai usurped power, and warlord infighting plunged China into chaos again. The May 4th movement marked a turning point. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles transferred German holdings in Shandong to Japan, sparking student protests. Youths and workers took to the streets, shouting, "Defend national sovereignty abroad, punish traitors at home." The New Culture movement followed, with thinkers like Chen Duxiu and Husserl championing science and democracy. Lu Xun's call to arms awakened a sleeping nation. In 1921, the Chinese Communist Party was founded in Shanghai. From the red boat on Nanhu Lake to the sparks of revolution in Jinggangshan, the party led the people onto the revolutionary path. After the 1927 split with the nationalists, Chiang Kai-shek launched a purge of communists, forcing the party into rural bases. In 1931, Japan invaded Manchuria. In 1937, it launched a full-scale invasion of China. During the War of Resistance against Japan, over 35 million Chinese perished. Both the communist-led guerrilla warfare behind enemy lines and the nationalist frontline resistance contributed to final victory in 1945. Following the war, civil conflict resumed. In 1949, the Communist Party emerged victorious. The nationalist government retreated to Taiwan, and the People's Republic of China was founded, ushering in a new chapter in Chinese history. Chapter 10: The Modern Era, The Road to National Rejuvenation. On October 1, 1949, Mao Zedong stood atop Tiananmen Gate and proclaimed the founding of the People's Republic of China, marking the nation's rebirth. In its early years, China faced daunting challenges. Land reform liberated hundreds of millions of peasants. The Korean War defended national dignity. The first five-year plan jump-started industrialization, with giants like An Steel and First Auto Works rising from the ground. In the 1950s, China's international standing began to grow. At the Bandung Conference in 1955, Zhou and Lei proposed the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, earning the respect of Asian and African nations. Domestically, however, the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution caused severe setbacks, halting economic growth and plunging society into chaos. In 1978, the reform and opening up policy marked a turning point. Deng Xiaoping emphasized economic development as the central task. Rural reforms like household contracts energized farmers, while special economic zones like Shenzhen attracted foreign capital. Investment, technology, and new ideas flowed into China. Township enterprises and the private sector thrived. During the 1990s, China accelerated its global integration. Hong Kong returned in 1997, followed by Macau in 1999. In 2001, China joined the World Trade Organization, igniting economic expansion. Pudong, once desolate, became a financial hub. Highways and high-speed railways spread across the nation. The 2008 Beijing Olympics showcased China's confidence and vitality to the world. In the 21st century, China entered a new era. The nationwide poverty alleviation campaign lifted nearly 100 million people out of poverty. The Belt and Road Initiative connected over 60 countries. Scientific achievements, like the Chang'e moon missions, the Beidou satellite system, and quantum communication, placed China at the forefront of global innovation. In 2020, amid the COVID-19 pandemic, China was the only major economy to post positive growth, earning global recognition for its response. Today, China is the world's second-largest economy. Living standards have improved dramatically. Skyscrapers in cities and lush landscapes in villages showcase the face of the new era. A cultural renaissance is underway, traditional festivals and trendy local brands are winning over young people. But the road to national rejuvenation is not without obstacles. The global landscape is complex, technological competition is fierce, and regional disparities still need to be addressed. History reminds us that every step forward is built on sacrifice and effort. From the bloodshed of war to the bold reforms of recent decades, the Chinese people have written a miracle with wisdom and perseverance. Looking ahead, China will continue to play a vital role on the global stage, not just as an economic powerhouse, but also as a cultural and responsible global actor. No matter the challenges ahead, the Chinese people will face the future with confidence and resilience. Conclusion. We've journeyed through 5,000 years of Chinese history, from the mythical age of Pangu to the tribal alliances of the Yellow Emperor, from the unified power of Qin and Han to the cultural peaks of Tang and Song, from the isolation of the Ming and Qing to the trials and awakening of modern times, and finally to the road of rejuvenation today. Every chapter is filled with hardship and glory. Chinese history is a story of perseverance. Whether it's you the great taming floods, Confucius spreading virtue, Yufei's unwavering loyalty, or the sacrifices of modern revolutionaries, these stories have shaped the spirit of the Chinese nation. At its heart lies the pursuit of peace, prosperity, and dignity. History is not just the past, it's a mirror for the present. It teaches us that the continuity of civilization depends on openness and innovation, and that national strength comes from the efforts of its people. Whether in times of prosperity or turmoil, history reminds us to cherish today and face tomorrow with wisdom. As a history content creator, I hope this journey has deepened your love for and understanding of Chinese history. Perhaps you were moved by Li Bai's poetry, brought to tears by Yufei's loyalty, or inspired by the struggles of modern revolutionaries. Whatever part resonated with you, carry that emotion into your life, and use it to better understand this land's past and present. If you found this video meaningful, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and join us in exploring more fascinating stories from history. Your support is what keeps us going. Is there a chapter of history you'd like to see next? Leave a comment below, and we'll see you in the next episode.